Oh, hello, and welcome to the Get Out of Here with That. We don't got time. Wait, this isn't a reaction video. This is a Q&A, bro. Let's change that scene up a little bit. All right, much better. Welcome to the channel, and if you're new here, my name is James. I'm a former Marine. I served from 2007 to 2012 with one combat deployment to Helmand Province, Afghanistan. And yes, your math is correct. I signed up for 4 years, but I actually stayed in for 5 because they extended my contract involuntarily for training. I didn't know they could do that, but they can. Now, when I first joined the Marine Corps, I went in as infantry, artillery, and open contract. I got air traffic control. I don't know how that works, but here you go. Before I deployed to Afghanistan, I was selected on a 7-man mobile team, or an MMT for short. And for those of you that aren't familiar, an MMT is a 7-man mobile team that's modeled after the Air Force's combat controllers of the TACP, which I can cover in a video later on. Look, this video is very special to me because you guys had questions about the Marine Corps, and I'm here to answer those questions for you guys. And if there's anything I didn't cover or you want more information, just ask below in that comment section. I got you guys. So let's get into it. This one's for you, Skippy. Let's go. Yo, I love this question because it shows that you guys know your stuff about the military. Most people don't realize that when you leave boot camp, you either go to SOI or MCT, depending on your job. If you're infantry, you go to SOI, and if you're non-infantry, you go to MCT. And this is just a short school to kind of teach you a little bit more combat-related stuff. Then you go on to the schoolhouse. This is where you actually learn your job. So if you're going in to be a mechanic, you don't do that in boot camp, you don't do that in SOI or MCT, you do that at the schoolhouse. This is where that transition comes in. So to answer your question about what the transition from boot camp into your school or the field is like, it's abrupt. Because you're coming from a place that almost expects you to make mistakes to a place that doesn't tolerate any mistakes. Because in boot camp, you're all new, you have no idea what's going on, and that's expected. Once you get to the schoolhouse, you're a Marine, you've earned the title, you're told what to do and what not to do, you know right from wrong, and you're expected to maintain those standards. They're not gonna accept anything less. Additionally, when you're in boot camp, they tell you everything. They will wake you up, they will send you where you need to go, they will tell you what to wear, they will walk you through your entire life. Once you get into the field, it's not exactly the same. They'll tell you where to go and what to wear, but now it's on you to make that happen. You need to be there on time. If they say 0400 PT in the morning, green on green, you're showing up 0345, green on green, standing ready to go. Nobody's gonna do that for you. And I think that's one of the hardest challenges of making that shift or that transition, because now the responsibility is no longer on your drill instructors, it's on you, and they will hold that standard. The other thing, getting into the schoolhouse was a little bit rough because you have a lot of Marines that have been there before you. They've probably been there for, you know, maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is before you. So they hold seniority and they're going to treat you like a new guy. They're going to be like, oh, look at this brand new boot. People are going to kind of make fun of you and all that. And it's just nature of the beast. You deal with it. It's very temporary because eventually a new class will come in and you'll be the senior guys and they won't. I wouldn't say it's like a hazing thing, but it's just more of like a break-in period that you just got to kind of deal with. Go with the flow. It's not as bad as people make it seem. It's just uncomfortable at times, but once you get through like the first month or so, it's just like anywhere else. You're just gonna adapt to it, and you're gonna have other Marines, especially like the lower ranks, like PFCs, Lance Corporals, that can guide you and mentor you on the do's and do nots. Once you leave the schoolhouse, it's a little bit better. It's a little bit more receptive. They are gonna kind of try to figure you out. It almost feels like prison, bro, where like they'll question you and do all these different things to just try to figure you out because you are new and you're coming into their family. It's just like anything else. You have a friend group and now they introduce a new friend. It's a little bit awkward at first, and then they become part of the family with you. Same exact thing with the schoolhouse. It just takes a little bit in the beginning to transition, and once you get past that part, bro, it's usually clean sailing. You're gonna bump heads with people, but the first month is usually the worst. This is where you'll make like good friends because you're not gonna be the only one either. So it's gonna be you with a couple other people that are brand new as well. So you're gonna form the bonds with those guys and kind of stick together to try to get through it. Hopefully that answered that question, bro. On to the next one. What else we got? This is a tough one for me because there were definitely a couple fears that I had going in, and my biggest one is the fear of failing. I was so scared that I wasn't gonna make it or I wasn't good enough, and the drill instructors reinforce that. They'll tell you day in and day out, you're gonna fail, you're not gonna make it, we'll drop you, other people are gonna come in and take your place. I'm not gonna lie, it shook me to the core, man. I was so scared of failing. I come from a very poor neighborhood. I come from a really ghetto and dangerous place, and I didn't want to go back to that. So the Marine Corps was like my only option, and I didn't want to fail. I also felt like maybe I would be embarrassed if I told all my friends and family, hey, I'm going into the Marine Corps, and then I fail out of it. I think that scared me a lot too. But I've come to learn later on that, dude, it doesn't matter. Even if you don't make it through boot camp, even if you fail, even if you get hurt, if anything happens, I already have so much respect for those people because you've already signed on that dotted line and made a step and a huge commitment that a lot of people don't. So there really is no shame or fear in failing boot camp. Looking back, I feel kind of stupid for feeling that way. At the time, I just didn't want to fail, and I was scared that I would fail, and I was scared that if I failed, it would prove to myself that I didn't have what it takes. Like I said, that's not really the case. Just the military sometimes isn't for everybody, and that's okay. You know, I'm not good at painting, bro, but if I really like painting and I'm trying and I just don't go anywhere with it and it's horrible, doesn't mean I'm a bad person. It's just not my thing, and that's okay. There's no shame in that. So that was a big one for me. And another one is just overcoming the unknown, because you don't know what to expect when you go to boot camp, bro. It's not like just an environment change. It is a lifestyle change. They're taking you from your house, this nice, comfortable, warm area, and dropping you into a unforgiving place where you have no idea what's coming next. And I think the fear of the unknown and really overcoming that is a big challenge, because I went from a place where I can wake up at 11 o'clock in the morning if I wanted to. I can eat when I wanted. I can eat whatever I wanted. Yeah, that's gone. That's out the window, bro. It doesn't exist anymore. Pride, your ego, anything that you have like control over your life really has to get set aside. And I think that's a difficult challenge for a lot of people to overcome, because there are some people that were in my boot camp that were star athletes. People loved them, the most popular kid in high school, and I'm watching him get belittled by drill instructors to the point of tears. Okay, so overcoming that challenge of almost yourself, that pride, that ego, who you think you are, they're going to break it. I don't care if you're the fastest runner in the world. They're going to tell you that you're complete trash. You're the slowest. You're not going to make it. They don't care. There is no positive affirmation in boot camp. So hopefully that makes sense. I didn't ramble too much about it, but yeah, man, finding your own self-motivation is very difficult because nobody's going to do that for you. You don't have people beside you that are like, come on, man, you're going to make it. Great job. Dude, that doesn't exist. You're going to have to dig down and be like, I really want this. I'm not giving up, and push through it. So it's really a challenge of self-motivation and finding that drive to overcome your own barriers and your own mental obstacles that you've set in your life. Everybody has different ones, but for the most part, I mean, that's tough, dude. Nobody wants to get broken, beaten down, and treated that way, especially when you have values for yourself, you know, and how you view yourself is very different from how the drill instructors are going to treat you. So good times, man. All right. Hopefully that answered that question. What else we got, bro? All right. I love this question because I'm just a weirdo, bro. So you guys can kind of see how I handled it. Maybe it'll help you out. But what I did personally was I started to lie to myself. I lied to myself a lot. So for an example, if it's like freezing cold and we're all standing there like this, my hands are frozen shut. I hate the cold with a passion, bro. Hate it. I would start to lie to myself, and I'm like, you know what? This is great, dude. This is what I signed up for. I'm glad it's cold. I wish it can get colder. If it can get colder, it'd be even better than this. And then eventually I started to believe it. Every single time I was in a situation that was like unbearable, I really started to lie about how much I loved it. And I started to feel a little bit better because I'm like almost looking for more pain and it wasn't coming. I want more pain. It's gotta be worse than this. Weird, but it worked. All right, so I kind of compartmentalized it. The second thing is focusing on the present. Let's say you're standing there, you have your hand out like this and you're holding your rifle and it is just getting painful by the second, getting worse and worse. You're trying to hold it up. I was thinking to myself, man, this sucks, dude. Like, how long are we gonna be doing this? I can't hold on much longer. And instead, I only focused on very short time frames. I would say to myself, okay, in 5 seconds, let's see how I feel. And I would count 5 seconds. It's unbearable. And I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great, that was 5 seconds. Can I do another 5 seconds? I would do this over and over, and then next thing you know, the drill instructor's like, all right, put your arms down. Oh, I was ready to go another 5 seconds. Very short increments, and then they're almost these mini accomplishments. Once you get past that 5 seconds, you're like, I just did 5 seconds. I could do another 5. I do this all the time, and it helps significantly for me. And Marcus Luttrell, the lone survivor, obviously his case is so much more intense than mine, but he did something very similar where he had to crawl 2 miles with, I don't know, 10, 15 different bones broken. His tongue was like chewed in half. It was horrible. And he would tell himself, I'm just gonna crawl a couple feet. I'm gonna crawl for like 1 minute. If I can get to the 1 minute mark and open my eyes, I'm gonna crawl for another minute. And he broke down this 2-mile trek into minutes or inches or feet or whatever it was. And he's just crawling forward like, okay, I could do this. Compartmentalizing and breaking things down to the smallest scale will help you get through some of the more painful experiences. That's at least what I did. Hopefully that helps you guys. exercise. And the third thing I did was I started to think about combat. So, I would pretend like I was in Afghanistan, and if I didn't get to that finish line in 18 minutes, my entire team was gonna die. I started playing these really weird pretend or imagination games inside of my brain, and it almost took me out of that environment, and it really helped me not focus so much on how tired I am or how exhausted I am or how much more I have to run, and it was more about trying to keep my team alive. So there's fun ways that you can incorporate these things to make the experience a little bit better for you. Hopefully that helped. Like I said, I'm a weirdo, bro. I do some weird stuff to get through pain. That's some of my secrets to it. Next one, bro, what we got? All right, this one is interesting because I didn't really have a lot of videos or anything to watch to prepare myself mentally aside from a bunch of Iraq war footage, and I was watching the Marines and putting myself in their shoes and preparing mentally that way. For the physical part of it, and this is, mental as well, but my recruiter gave me a packet, and he's like, these are the bare minimums for the Marine Corps. You need to run 3 miles in 18 minutes to get a perfect score, 20 pull-ups, and 100 sit-ups in 2 minutes. We didn't have the combat fitness test at the time. This was just a PFT ran twice a year. I took this packet and I would go to a track that was at my school and I would just run 3 miles. I would pretend that I was in the Marine Corps at the same time. I just wore a t-shirt, some shorts. It was dead winter, bro. I was freezing, but I was like, this is what it's gonna be like when I get there. I gotta push through it. And I would run 3 miles. I would just keep timing myself and trying to beat that score. And in my brain, I was like, okay, I'm at Paris Island, I'm running. There's people behind me. There's people in front of me. I gotta beat the guy in front of me. And I would start preparing mentally for that experience. And let me tell you this right now, every little bit that you do, I don't care what it is gonna help you out. Because I got to boot camp and you'd be surprised how many people were not prepared at all. There's people that haven't ran a day in their life and they're showing up to boot camp, bro, and they are struggling. They couldn't even pass the initial strength test, that IST that's like 2 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, and whatever, I can't remember. It's like a mile run in like 26 minutes. I don't know. I'm making that number up. I don't remember off the top of my head. It was just weird because you definitely don't want to be the last dude at boot camp. So that experience and anything that you put in now is going to help you out significantly because you're going to show up with a lot of people that are going to be less prepared than you. So the earlier you start preparing, the better this is going to be for you because you're going to get down there and realize, hey, I'm actually more prepared than I thought I would be. And that's how I felt. When I was on that run, I wasn't as burnt out, as winded as some of the other people there. Now, I wasn't all the way in the front and I wasn't the fastest, strongest, best or anything like that, but I was enough into the front that I wasn't getting picked apart and soloed out. The people in the back are going to get destroyed. They're going to get it the entire time that they're in that back. So that's kind of the experience. And that's why I tell people the earlier you start, the better it's going to be. It's going to be tough regardless because it's meant to be tough. It's meant to be a challenge and it's meant to push you out of your comfort zone. Nature of the beast. There's nothing you could do to fully 100% prepare, but you can make that experience significantly better on yourself by preparing now. And then when you get down there, you're going to see that makes all the difference in the world. I don't think I prepared as much as I should have. The only saving grace that I had was before I went into the Marine Corps, I was a martial arts instructor and I was physically fit at the time. I was training every single day and then I would do my runs at night. That really helped prepare me physically, mentally, and almost emotionally as well getting into it. So that's what I did. Hopefully that works for you guys too. Like I said, every little bit that you do is going to help so much. So what else we got? The short answer to this is my grandfather. When I was growing up, he was already out of the Marine Corps for about 20 years, but I still seen the Marine in him every single day. I go into his bedroom. His bed is perfectly made, crisp as can be. You could bounce a quarter off the sheets. His shoes were lined up perfectly, front and center, an inch spaced all the way down. He didn't really show fear for anything. He was very confident in what he did. He didn't speak a lot, but he just didn't show any fear. And his work ethic was like through the roof. And every time I asked my grandmother, I'm like, how is he like that all the time? And she's like, oh, that's just the Marine Corps. And I'm like, damn, the Marine Corps did that? He's been out for 20 years, bro. Why is he still acting like a Marine? And it's because they set that standard in him and he just maintained it for the whole rest of his life. And I'll tell you this, there is the bad part to this, and the part that I kind of look back and it does make me sad is I feel like the work ethic that he had did put him in, a bad health position later on, because it didn't matter how sick he was, how cold it was, how hot it was, whatever. He just got up and he did it. And he's always like mission accomplishment first. His selflessness and stuff like that really deteriorated his body a lot quicker than it should have. That's a whole nother story, but his work ethic and everything that he did was just so powerful, and it was so inspiring to me watching him as I grew up. He just didn't have fear, man. I got a chance to see him right before he passed away on his deathbed, and I remember I was talking to him and, I was just telling him sorry for the things that I did as a kid to make his life hard or whatever. And I asked him how he was feeling. I'm like, how are you feeling right now? Like, what are you going through? And he's like, I'm good. I'm just ready. And that was it, bro. There was like no fear in that man. And even facing death, he's like, it was like talking to him about his favorite food. He's like, that's good. Bro, I couldn't imagine being that fearless in every walk of life. And I think the Marine Corps really instilled that in him. And it's remarkable to see. I mean, he was one of the biggest influences in my life. I also thought to myself, I'm like, man, if I'm a Marine, I can bond with him and maybe he'll talk to me more because he'll be more open, you know, once we share that bond. And that did happen. Once I came back from the Marine Corps, the first time I really saw my grandfather kind of smiling and really opening up and talking to me. So I don't mean to make that all about my grandfather, but he was just such an inspiration to me in actually wanting to be in the Marine Corps. This is weird, but the people that kept telling me, they're like, don't join the Marine Corps, bro. That thing sucks, dude. It's so bad. It's so rough. Oh, dude, I hated it. Almost made me want to go into it more because I'm like, what are they talking about? What is so bad about this? And I think the challenge of, okay, if it's the hardest branch to get through and to be a part of, I kind of want to try it out. I want to push myself. I want to challenge myself. A big thing I asked was, am I going to regret not going into the Marine Corps? If I look back and I say, okay, I could have went Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, all these options, are they going to be as fulfilling as the Marine Corps in the challenge I had? Like if I go into the Navy, am I going to look at the Marine Corps and be like, damn, I wonder what that experience is like? For me, I would have regretted it my entire life because I wanted to know what that was like. And sometimes the fear or the wanting to know what something is like almost pushes it. I also noticed the Marine Corps has a freaking brotherhood that's unlike anything else, dude. I've seen Marines that never met each other a day in their life and they're talking like they're brothers and best friends. Marine Corps. Okay. Similar in other branches, you'll see like Navy and stuff. And they're like, oh, what's up? I was Navy too. That's awesome. Then you see the Marines, they're like, yo, what's up, bro? Like, what unit were you from? And it's like this whole brand new conversation. It's this little tiny brotherhood that's so locked in and focused, dude. It made me want to join and be a part of it. That's one of the biggest driving factors for me at the time. And I also knew that the Marine Corps was all about combat and I just wanted to get deployed. I'm like, how can I get to Afghanistan fast? The Marine Corps. The Marine Corps was my quickest route to get to Afghanistan and to fight. And I think that's what really motivated me. I grew up watching like Steven Seagal and Rambo and everything, and I really wanted to be that. So the Marine Corps was the closest fit to it. It might be a little bit unconventional, but it is what it is, man. Like I told you, I'm kind of weird in like my thoughts and my processes, but that was the biggest driving factors for me, especially my grandfather, man. I look up to him. I hope to be 1/16 of the man that he was. So love him to death, man. But hopefully I'd answered that one too. What other questions we got? Let's go, dude. I love you guys, man. This is awesome, bro. Let's go. I love this one so much, bro, because I dealt with this a lot. It's just like school or work, right? You're going to have people that don't like you and you don't like them. You're going to be like this, just bashing. The big difference is you can leave school or you can leave work and not see them anymore. So they're not there your entire day. The Marine Corps is a little bit different. They might be your roommate. They might be in charge of you. They might live in the barracks with you, whatever it is. The big personality that I could not stand is the NCO or the person that's in charge of me that hates me for no reason. And they will do everything they can to make your life miserable. So I had a corporal, hated me. Hated everything about me. I don't know why, he just did. So we had to clean up a bunch of old cigarette butts and all this junk and nastiness that was outside next to one of the dumpsters. And he's like, all right, everybody else go inside. Smith, you're gonna go out there and clean up all the cigarette butts and throw them all in the trash. And you gotta stand and jump on the trash, you know, to compact it so that we could fit more trash in there. I took all the fuel out of his fire, bro. I'm like, okay, let's go, Corporal. And I ran over, I'm like throwing the cigarette butts in there. Dude, I made it the best time of my life. And it was brutal. It was hot. It was August, bro, steamy. It was nasty as hell, but I pretended like I loved every second of it. And I'm like, yes, I'm like stomping on the trash. Bro, I had such a good time. And I remember looking outside of the trash can over the top of the dumpster at him. And he's just like, even looking more mad because he can't get under my skin, dude. He could not figure out a way to make me upset. And he tried every single day, and to the point that he just kind of gave up. Because he's like, all right, we're gonna do uniform inspection, 4 a.m. Smith, you're gonna be leading everything. And I'm like, oh yes, this is it, Corporal. I've always wanted this moment. Let's go. And I turned every single thing he did into a positive, bro. It drove him freaking nuts, dude. He just couldn't get under my skin. And that was a way to deal with it. And I've noticed for the most part, if you deal with things very positively, it's hard hard for that bad personality to deal with. There are always going to be people in this world that are going to look for things to try to make you mad, take you out of character, all this, and you just can't give it to them, bro. And that's what I do a lot. Like if I have a personality I don't like, I don't deal with, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to get under my skin because there's nothing that I haven't said to myself that's worse than anybody else in this world that's going to say stuff to me. I think that that's the best way to deal with those types of personalities positively. Going against them and really having that anger and letting them get the best of you and change like who you are and how you feel and ruin your day, it's just gonna add to them, you know, and you don't want that. So I feel like that was one of the biggest personalities that I had to deal with that I didn't like, and I just seen it so often that that's why I brought it up for this example. Here's the best part of the whole story, bro. Eventually he became a sergeant and so did I, and we were both sergeants around the same time. His whole demeanor changed because now he knows that if he says something to me, I could say something back. I can go and do whatever I want to him because guess what, bro? You don't outrank me anymore. So now his demeanor and everything, he kind of talked a little bit more respectfully to me. And we actually had a longer conversation. I think we were actually getting back from Afghanistan and we had talked for a while and he became like a good friend of mine. But at that time, bro, I had to deal with this dude and I hated it. I hated waking up. I hated going there. I hated seeing his face. And it was just one of those things that you just kind of deal with. Be positive, bro, and don't let anybody else change you. No matter how bad that personality is, you can only control yourself. You can't control them. Let them say whatever they want to you. They're not you. What they eat don't make you poop. You know, so I mean that's the easiest way to kind of explain it as like a general, as like a whole for like any type of personality trait that you're going to deal with. Thank you all so much for dropping these comments and really giving me something to think about and like reflect. And I'm just honored that I can help you guys. Hopefully that was comprehensive enough to answer your guys' questions. And look, if I missed anything or maybe I didn't cover it in depth, go ahead and drop that comment below and I'll do my best to help you guys out. I might even feature some of your questions in the next video, man. So just let me know. Look, I love you guys. I have so much respect and admiration for you. I hope to see you guys in the next video. And if you're still trying to decide on what branch to join, I made a great video right here or here. I'm gonna put up here for you that you can check out that will hopefully make that decision a little bit easier for you guys. But until next time, man, I love you guys. See ya.